All right, welcome everybody. I'm glad you could join me today. Just to answer a question that somebody may have from the last video. What do I carry today? Well, these days I still carry a Nokia. It's the XR20. I'm not going to take a chance that it's bulletproof. What we got for you today is what I like to call box-o gun. For those of you that may not have heard the term, I'm sure most of you, if you're watching this, at least know the concept. See that new rifle, that new pistol, and you go, I really want that. And you pull out your wallet and go, I don't have that money right now. A lot of us do the same thing that I'm doing right now, which is get you a box, start ordering parts. And at that point, what you're doing is you are putting those parts into the box-o gun. And once we get our box-o gun filled with parts, then we can start doing our assembly. We're not to a point where we can assemble yet, but what we are going to do today is discuss what we're going to discuss what we're going to build, and the biggest thing is doing a cost comparison of what the factory gun would cost versus what it costs to actually build one. So we're going to get to that momentarily. Okay, well, let me start off by telling you how this all came about with this particular build. Looking around online like most of us do, and I come across CMMG's Banshee in 5.7 by 28 with an 8-inch barrel. And I thought to myself, you don't have one of those. Looking at the price is actually not bad for an SBR. The real question is, again, having all that money at once versus buying it part by part, and even looking at the price that they asked for it, there's certain things that got to be changed out automatically. Most of us are going to run a suppressor on something like that. Well, that means new muzzle devices, and so we're just going to start this build off from the very beginning, and we're going to see what our prices look like between the two. So to start off, let's take a look at what is the heart of this build. And that's going to be the bolt carrier group and the barrel. And if this thing will cooperate, we may have it out here for you to see. One of the things we need to discuss about this is not your typical AR build. This bolt carrier group and barrel is very specific to CMMG. This is not going to be the kind of bolt carrier group you can swap out with anything else you own. So, and we're going to compare the two bolt carrier groups between the CMMG for the 5.7 and a standard 5.56 bolt carrier group. One of the first things we want to look at is the fact that, well, you don't have the gas tube. So that tells us that this is obviously not a gas-operated system. What CMMG has elected to do in this case is they have gone with a radial delayed blowback. If you're not familiar with it, it's not exactly the newest system, but it is an interesting concept for this style of rifle. One of the things you need to look at, and we will pull them up side by side here, is they are not the same length overall. And we've got an overhead view that we can look at these. One of the first things we look at is our standard 5.56 bolt carrier group overall has a little bit longer length. Our radial delayed blowback has a captive spring in there. And if you'll notice on the back ends of the bolt, they are slightly notched. And what happens is this, as the pressure is pushing back, that creates a slight delay in the unlocking. And once the bolt itself reaches the full rear and it's completely unlocked, that inertia is what pushes the rest of the bolt to the rear. So, again, these are nothing close to interchangeable. But I wanted you to see that. What we're hoping, of course, is their system is set up, and they tell us that this should be basically plug and play type of thing where you just use all factory mil-spec parts and everything should operate. And we're going to find out whether or not that's true. And our total cost for the bolt carrier and barrel, shipped to the house, tax, everything, $484.90. And as we're going through this, all of the prices I give you out of this box is the total price I paid. So as we look into the differences between a build and purchasing a new rifle, keep in mind all of this, the taxes are already paid, the shipping's paid. So the second thing we got to look at, whether we're building this rifle or buying this rifle, either one, we just paid $484.90 here. If we're buying the rifle, you got that price tag that's on there, but they're SBRs. So that means automatically we're going to pay an additional $200 for a tax stamp, and that's extra money. If we're purchasing this, let's say, directly from CMMG online, they're going to have to ship that to a local Class 3 dealer. They're probably going to charge about $30 for shipping. Your local Class 3 dealer is probably going to charge you another $100 just to transfer that to you. And if I purchase it online with CMMG, and of course, if I do have to pay sales tax, that's another large chunk of change that we've got to deal with. So, since we're starting off with the barrel, let's go ahead and continue with our upper. We're going to take a look here. So here is the 51 tooth ratchet attachment for advanced armament systems. I do currently use some advanced armament suppressors. This cost me a total of $90.86. And we may change this out and go with the silencer co later on. All right, so let's take a look at our upper receiver. We purchased this as a complete stripped upper. The stripped upper and the forward assist shipped together cost me $61.85. All right. And of course, we got to have a charging handle. This one was kind of purchased off by itself, so I couldn't combine shipping. $18.22. Next, we need the ejection port cover. Now, I've gone ahead and ordered one that's already got the 5.7 by 28 laser engraved on both sides. That way, once it's on there, somebody picks up this rifle in my house, they don't try to stick something else like a 300 blackout or a 5.56 into that chamber. That'll save us a little hassle there. Next, we've got our handguard here. It's a free float. You'll take note, this is pretty close to what CMMG has on theirs. It's not identical, but this cost me $54.39. Now we can go ahead and we'll move down and start looking at our lower receiver. We're going to start this one off. We're going to use an 80% lower. This 80% lower cost me $54.68. We will machine this out, and of course, because this is a NFA item, we will have to engrave the name of my trust, the location of my trust. We will have to designate a model number, and we will have to put a serial number on this to make it legal. Next, we've got our complete buffer assembly. Buffer tube, castle nut, spring. Shipped to the house, $37.22. And this is a mil spec. One of the things that I like on mine, especially an SBR like this, I like to use the single point sling attachments. In this particular case, I got these, kind of bought a bulk of them. Came with the sling and the adapter, and they came out to $9.80 a piece. Now, of course, next, we've got to have magazines for this. These are proprietary magazines. They are 32 round magazines. If you'll notice, there's no curvature to them. The 5.7 is a straight walled bottleneck. So part of the problems I understand with the original magazines for these, they were modified P-mags, which of course are curved, and that causes some binding, and it also had some issues with the feed lips. But now that CMMG has a dedicated 5.7 by 28 magazine for these, and from what I've heard and read so far, these are very rugged and work very well. These are about $40 a piece. I ordered 3 of these. $129.44 for the 3 of them. Keep in mind, if you purchase the rifle from CMMG, you're going to have to incur this cost as well, because from what I can tell, there are none included in the sale. Our lower parts kit is a standard mil-spec lower parts kit, $45. And I've always been kind of partial to the Magpul MOE stocks. And I picked this one up for $41.62. Again, we're going to try to keep a rolling total up there on the screen so you can see what we've spent so far. Next, another expense that would have to be on both a purchased rifle as well as one we build is going to be optics. What I've got here is the Sig Sauer Romeo MSR. I'm currently using one of these on one of my shotguns, and I've been happy with the performance so far, so we're going to go ahead and use that on this weapon as well. It's compact, which helps keep us from taking up too much space, which is part of the whole concept of a short-barreled rifle. So, that pretty much takes care of all of our parts and what it's going to take us to finish out this rifle. Now, in this particular case, this is not going to completely end my build, but this is essentially to get you a running rifle. Again, this is an SBR. It means we got to file for our tax stamp if this is what we're wanting. We're waiting on a approved Form 1 at this time. But once we get this together, our next step, after we get this lower milled out and engraved, the next step I want to do is something a little different because, well, you got to be different sometimes. So, what we've got here is Remington 870. We've got a 4-color digital woodland camouflage on here, and we'll get you a close-up view of that. And that's what I'm looking at doing on this other weapon. Looking at a four-color digital camouflage pattern on it. I use Duracoat. I've been using Duracoat for a number of years on plenty of my firearms. Been very, very happy with the performance of Duracoat. Not going to tell you what colors we're using. That will be coming up real soon. Hopefully our very next episode, which will be part 2 of this series, that's going to be what we do. I want to kind of show y'all on that one, step by step, how we do this. A lot of people ask me about this. Some folks are kind of intimidated by the concept of doing this. They're afraid, oh, I might mess it up. Well, guess what? Maybe you do. Every one of these becomes a unique feature, so especially with a camouflage pattern, if you mess up a little bit, it's hard to really tell that it's a mess up. So please don't be intimidated by it. Come back with our next episode and watch us get that done. For now, I think that's all we've got for today. I'm hoping you learned a little bit, especially when we're talking about pricing. But please come back, stick around next time, because like I said, we're going to start doing the coating on this, and we're going to cover that step by step. And like I said, I'm hoping after that some of you folks will decide maybe you'll do your own. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And like I said, as soon as we get the next episode out, you'll know about it and you can see what we're doing. Appreciate your time today. Enjoy. Thanks for visiting.